Hey, welcome to the show. My name is Jake, and thank you for joining me on this evening to discuss liminal spaces in Watchtower art, in the artwork in Jehovah's Witness publications. This is a live stream, and we'll see. We'll see if this stays on the main channel. If it's bad, then I'll remove it and just edit the highlights later. So if you are seeing this in the far-flung future, that means that the stream is good. And so you don't have to click away. You can just stick around because it's great. I was going to stream this past Sunday with Christina, and we were both kind of feeling sick. And then we were going to do it today, and then she's feeling sicker. And so now we're going to stream together on Sunday and talk about mixed faith marriage stuff. And I'm going to talk about art while feeling some vibes. A few months ago, I did a video called like the bittersweet nostalgia of Watchtower art or something like that. And basically it was just a video where I got super stoned and talked about Watchtower art and the feelings it brings about. So we're going to do that now. Of course, this is a work night, so anything you see me smoking will, of course, just be cigarettes, which is not a big deal at all. So we're just going to be vibing and reacting to some Watchtower art. Thanks to everyone who's joining us in the chat. Now, I chose the theme liminal spaces. You might be wondering, what is a liminal space? Well, I kind of got this idea from my favorite YouTuber, ContraPoints. She did a tangent, like a bonus video on her Patreon, talking about the internet's obsession with liminal spaces. And so if you're wondering what that term is, I'm going to play a snippet of this, which I think she would be cool with, right? This is basically just a free advertisement for Natalie Wynn's Patreon. And anyway, we're just showing a clip to explain liminal spaces.
As far as I can tell, this basic genre goes back to a 2016 Tumblr post, places where reality is a bit altered. Any Target, churches in Texas, abandoned 7-Elevens, your bedroom at 5 a.m., hospitals at midnight, warehouses that smell like dust, lighthouses with lights that don't work
A cigarette
anymore,
is what's about
empty
to happen.
parking lots, ponds and lakes in suburban neighborhoods, rooftops in the early morning, inside a dark cabinet, playgrounds at night, rest stops on highways, deep in the mountains, early in the morning wherever it's just snowed, trails by the highway just out of earshot of traffic.
So you get it. Basically, just places that give you a vibe. And my feeling on liminal spaces is that they're really just nostalgic spaces. So to me, all Watchtower art is liminal art because it takes me to that space. It takes me to a nostalgic space because growing up as a Jehovah's Witness, oftentimes we would be like in rural territory, out in the door-to-door ministry, out in the country where, you know, it's a 5-minute drive between houses and it's snowy, and me and my sister are in the back seat of a van and we're bored and we're looking at our weird tracts and brochures and magazines that our organization publishes. And so you might just be staring for a long time at something like this. So let's start with this. Now, heads up, in trying to pull fun pieces to talk about, really just got obsessed with one particular brochure that I really had not ever seen before. And it's totally bug nuts, banana shits. And so we're going to talk about that. But we have to talk about this because I think about this all the time, this weird tract. Sound off in chat if you remember trying to place this as a child or a young person or any kind of human, really. Imagine going to somebody's house on a Saturday morning and showing them this little picture. Will this world survive? And I got to say, you know, I think part of the fun of looking at these like pieces of art is that it's propaganda art. And I got into that in the previous video. And like, the thing with propaganda art is that it is very clear in its intent, right? It is very clearly trying to communicate a message. But I think the reason why this tract is not really in circulation anymore is because it's really not clear to me what this is trying to communicate. But it's really interesting, isn't it? I mean, this guy, who is this guy? And, you know, we could read the text, or we could just get the text from the word pictures from the artist, for surely every perfect line of this grid was drawn with the artist's intent. This is the best quality scan I could find, and it's not even a particularly good scan. But like, I always got the sense that this was warning about the future, or like Y2K or something, with the vibe this was giving. Just to date myself a little bit, will this world survive? But really, this is the prototypical survivor of Armageddon, if you're a Jehovah's Witness, isn't it? It's like kind of just a generic man in a suit, and you will be standing before the entire world in the Matrix, question mark, unclear. But this one really, yes, Jackie Jack says it's very Matrix like it is. And of course, when you leave the witnesses, that's like you really left the Matrix for real, though. And maybe we should, just before we get into some really dark stuff, quite frankly, look at something very nice. A tract entitled "All Suffering Soon to End." I mean, how great is that? What, you're saying you like suffering so much? No, we're coming to your door. We're saying we want it to end. We'd like the suffering to stop. Thank you very much. We're Jehovah's Witnesses. And it's diverse, because you could see far in the background, there's a white lady riding a horse, and we have this African-American couple up front, and moose, antlered and unantlered, and a cabin. Like, what kind of scenario do they have going on here? All I know growing up is that you definitely were going to have so many baskets of fruit in the new system. The new system was mostly sitting around in a field, smiling, petting a tiger, and just grabbing a future melon from a basket, from a paradise fruit basket. It is a very yellow image, and perhaps this was the very yellow that Chris Martin sang about all the way back in the year 2000. And by the way, these were the only illustrations on these tracks, because I was thinking, oh, what other kind of crazy art's new? Nothing. Now, this is 2005, which feels wild to me. I have a hard time believing this. Doesn't this feel like this must have been much later than 2005? But it is. It's 2005. It kind of reminds you, their push towards this more like modern art is much more recent than you would think. I guess 2005 is kind of ancient in terms of like internet history, but boy, I thought this was like from the 80s or something. They just kind of like hung on to that. Okay. Ice Cream Headache says, what does the Bible teach about vegans? The front page article, as we speak, my little Pimo texted me earlier, go to jw.org right now, and the front page article was, what does the Bible say about vegans? Like, why does Watchtower feel like they need to have a take on this? Okay, well, the place where I really want to get lost with you chatters this evening is a periodical, you could say a publication by the Watchtower Bible and Tract Society that I knew of and maybe flipped through once or twice, but never actually read. Spirits of the Dead. Can they help you or harm you? Do they really exist? And the cover of the magazine, to me, seems, I think, is tipping Watchtower's hand that, yeah, they do think that spirits of the dead exist and can help them and harm you. So that's the vibe I'm getting here. Now, this I was like vaguely familiar with, and my knowledge of this publication was only that it was something that you would place with people with an African background. Now, you might think that sounds a little reductive and racist. Well, we're going to go through this publication, its artwork, and some of the captions, and I think I'm accurately stating the intent of this publication. But yeah, I've been thinking a lot about this lately. I've been thinking a lot about what it meant for me to grow up seeing a bunch of stuff like this. Like, I certainly flipped through this. Some of these illustrations were familiar to me, some were not. But no matter if you were familiar with Spirits of the Dead or not, there is all kinds of fucked up Watchtower artwork in all of these publications. And I've been wondering kind of what that means. How did that inform like my anxiety that I had as a kid. Is this why I had so much trouble sleeping at night? I don't know. The other fun thing, to not to brag, but guys, I like to write in my free time, and I've been writing just for fun this demon story using JW mythology. So I've been reading a lot of quotes from theirs about demons, and had read some of the text in this, but wanted to find the original publication. And boy, oh boy, if you're ready for a spooky vibe tonight, this is a genuinely creepy publication, and yeah, just be forewarned. Okay, so right off the bat, I don't really know what's happening here. It looks like he's hiding under a ghost costume, like E.T. But like the level of detail on this is insane, right? Like, just to talk about this for a second as a piece of art, like, look how meticulously painted this is. Look how lovingly rendered the like shaving cuts and like dimples are, just in like the red bloodshot eyes. He's so spooked by whatever he's seeing, even though it kind of seems like he's the ghost, maybe. But this starts out with just an honest to God ghost story. I grew up in a small village in the northern. I'll start over. It was not Northern Province. Northern Province. I didn't do my vocal warm-ups. Northern Province. I grew up in a small village in the Northern Province, relates Dada from Sierra Leone. Once, when I was a boy, there was a land dispute between my family and another family. Both claimed the same land. To settle the matter, a medicine man was called in. He gave another man a mirror, then covered him with a white cloth. Soon, the man under the cloth began to tremble and sweat. As he looked into the mirror, he exclaimed, I see an old man approaching. He is dressed in white garments. He is tall and old with gray hair, and he walks with a slight stoop. He was describing grandfather. He then became hysterical and cried out, If you don't believe what I am saying, come look for yourselves. Of course, none of us had the courage to do that! Exclamation point. The medicine man calmed him by sprinkling on him a magical mixture of leaves and water, which he held in a calabash. Calabash. Speaking through the mirror man, grandfather said the land belonged to our family. He told my grandmother she should work the land without worry. The other family accepted the judgment. The issue was settled. Such experiences are common in West Africa. Shit happens all the time. Here, as in other parts of the world, countless millions believe that dead people pass on to the spirit world, where they are able to observe and influence the lives of people on Earth. I'm imagining like a very white newsman, like standing in front of this guy shaking under a sheet, reporting the news. But this is very weird. This is a very weird publication, and it is specifically designed to appeal to cultures where there is a lot of like ingrained in the culture, like witchcraft and what witnesses would consider to be spiritistic practices and devil worship. That's not probably how those cultures would view their practices. They would probably view it as something more nice and like we're honoring our dead. But Jehovah's Witnesses are like, no, that's spiritism and it's from Satan, so you have to stop or God's going to kill you. And so you'll see throughout this publication a lot of depictions of Black people being very afraid of demons, and it just feels very racist. So let's just take that as a given going forward. I'm not the expert to talk about this, but I think we can just all agree. Kind of a racist magazine we're about to get into. Oh, and see, this is the Mirror Man. I'm assuming this is lost looking at a PDF, but I'm assuming like these two pictures would line up. It would be the guy looking through the mirror and seeing himself. I'm just now realizing this. React in real time to cult artwork with me. Now, this is really fun, this one here. But what I really like is it feels like the beginning of a Star Wars crawl. Spirits exist within the invisible spirit realm. There are both good and bad spirits. Are they persons who have lived and died on Earth? No, they are not. But just spirits exist! Exclamation point. Like, the dead speak. Yeah. War. The spirits exist. And it's okay. So the really funny thing about this overall, and we're already getting some comments on the fact that Adam is fucking built in this scene. He has, let's get this out of the way. People who watched my previous video, which is not enough people in my opinion, though that's usually what I think. I've never looked at a video and saw, you know what, enough people saw that. No, because I'm vain. But speaking of veins, look at the arm veins on Adam here. Literally the perfect man. I expressed how I think that this must have informed my attraction to forearms, because they're always so lovingly crafted in these magazines. And he's naked, and boy, they're tantalizing, yeah, with some potential bush or ball sightings. But nope, sorry, folks, you're gonna have to get a Watchtower subscription to see the whole thing. That's what it says in the magazine. But anyway, the really bizarre thing about this: spirits have not lived and died on Earth. Okay, so that's their big headline, right? But first sentence: spirits exist! Exclamation point. Within the invisible spirit realm, there are both good and bad spirits. Ooh. But they're so really all they're doing is making a nitpicky point. Are there persons who have lived on are they persons who have lived and died on Earth? No, they are not. So they're saying, no, guys, don't worry, we have great news. You're not being haunted by spirits of the dead. Bad news, there are still evil spirits who are going to try and torment you. So it's like, it feels like a lateral move. Like, I guess you're happy that it's not like your dead father haunting you, but it's still, I don't know, Satan and one of his minions. So that still seems bad overall, right? But this is a really interesting one. This is Adam came up from the dust, returned to dust. And so they're kind of literally showing like Spider-Man 3 when fucking Sandman's like being formed out of the sand. I think this is Adam being formed out of dust, which is very cool. If you look in the newer publication, Imitate Their Faith, which has the more modern Watchtower art style, it's almost like this green magic thing coming up. Maybe I can pull that up while I'm blabbing. Okay, it's called Imitate Their Faith. And sound off in chat, were you somebody who like thought a lot about this stuff and what it would have been like when you read creation accounts? Like, were you thinking in your head, like, ooh, how would that have worked? What would it have been like to be alone and yet, and then like one new person exists, but God is like talking to me and I get to name animals. Damn, is it Imitate Their Faith? It is, because it's able, I think. Oh shit. Well, I can't find it. There's definitely some publication where it shows Adam being formed out of green magic. I promise that exists, but it's not to Imitate Their Faith book. So far, fake news, but if anybody knows what I'm talking about, drop that in chat so you can validate me. Also, money. It is like Link's Ultra Hand. It kind of is. That's the magic that I'm imagining. Zonai art magic. Okay, let me pull this back up here. Okay, now this is not art well, that's not fair. This woman is certainly a lovely work of art all into herself, but I just mean in the terms of it being like a painting or something. Now this, I don't want to dwell on this particular painting. This doesn't do anything for me. They're depicting poor people being sad. But this is really gruesome, isn't it? I feel like they wouldn't show something quite this graphic in a modern publication. I say that, but this is a modern publication on the Jehovah's Witness website. Most of their old brochures, you can't actually download the PDF to. You can download only the text file, which doesn't have the old pictures in it, probably because a lot of them are pretty embarrassing. This one, though, does have the PDF. Like, this is downloaded straight from jw.org, and it just shows, like a husband beating his wife and their kid watching and covering their eyes. Oh, it's very, very sad. Millions of spirit creatures. Don't worry, there aren't spirits of the dead. There are just millions of different spirits that you hadn't even known to worry about yet. I love this, though. I love the, for all their preaching about Christendom, this is just kind of a generic Christendom depiction of heaven, isn't it? I mean, it is literally clouds and golden halos and maybe not harps, but I don't know. There might be some harps up there in the front row. I could be persuaded to believe that there are harps up there. Now, this is where things get really surprising, in my opinion, because this is Satan. when Satan used the serpent to speak to Eve. The publication is very clear on this. This is Satan. He's controlling the snake, and Eve is just like your mom's friend's Diane or something. But Satan has blonde hair and a very blonde beard. And what are we saying here exactly? Like, this is really strange, right? Like when they depicted Satan in the recent like Caleb and Sophia video where they show Satan tempting Jesus, he's like wearing a dark cloak, but he just has like gray hair and a gray beard, I think. Old gray beard, they called him. Oh man, the Canadian girl says she always knew all these blondes were evil. Is Satan bottle blonde? Rosaden straight up thirst trap. I mean, legitimate. Look at these eyes. How could you say no to these eyes? And I think this was a mistake on Satan's part. I mean, evidently he didn't have to give it all up, but I couldn't say no to a snake that had these piercing blue eyes, like Link in his wolf form in Twilight Princess, which I may or may not be replaying. Now, this is where I just am thoroughly confused, because this is very clearly a modern piece of JW art that is like in one of their comic strips that they make for kids now. So I don't know what was here. And I legitimately couldn't find a PDF of this, even on avoidjw.org. I didn't even think to look on jw.org because I assumed that it wouldn't be on it, because I'd always heard it was kind of infamously disgusting. But no, it's on there, and they update it. They like saw fit to update it with a modern piece of art. So man, I'm wondering what the hell was here that's so much worse than the rest of what they're fine leaving in the publication. Or maybe they just didn't have anything and they're like, hey, we got this great new piece of art, let's slide this in. But it's just interesting to me that they have their eyes on this publication at all. It must genuinely see some positive results in African nations, I guess. But I always love these. I always love Satan and his demons being cast out of heaven. Usually I feel like they're not depicted quite so clearly, and this looks like this bottom angel is such a crazy looking guy. Like, this looks like almost like Ian McDiarmid, or I don't know, it looks like a cherub, like in a Catholic angel statue or something. It really bottom pig reminds me of a Little Mermaid movie poster, or it's the Little Mermaid. I mean, kind of. Now, there's some other pieces I want to get to. This is a very infamous picture. I remember being very frightened by these as a kid, and I wonder why these creepy ass things hovering over this guy. And this is, I think, really important in a way to understanding Jehovah's Witness beliefs, because they don't ever really write in their publications in modern years that the demons specifically cause violence and like shootings and stuff. But I know that like within my family, that was always their response whenever there was another mass shooting, as there increasingly are. They would say, oh my God, like it's Satan. That person was demonized. That's the only way that's kind of thing could happen. And that's exactly what this is implying, that like these demons are tormenting this person. And the caption even says, the demons today cause some people to be violent. They harass others at night, giving them terrible dreams like, ah! Like this demon here. Oh! Woo! Peaches, the spookiest dog in streaming. Oh, the baby. Look at this baby. Are you scared? She's like, no, she's not scared of anything. And this is really a modern work of art, Peaches. She's so modern that she's like 4 months old. Thank you. We needed that. We needed a reprieve because we were about to get demonized from looking at so many spooky pictures.
You're welcome.
But these are all really, really gross, aren't they? Like, this is... it feels Sorry, I'm trying to gather my thoughts here. Let's read this real quick. Today, Satan and the demons are as murderous as ever. In fact, their evil activity has increased since they were thrown out of heaven. Reports from around the world testify to their cruelty. They plague some people with illness. Others they harass at night, depriving them of sleep or giving them terrible dreams. Others they abuse sexually. Still others they drive to insanity, murder, or suicide. Lintina, who lives in, oh boy, sorry, did I mention all the cigarettes I smoked before I started recording? Lintina, who lives in Suriname, it's broken up, so I'm having trouble with it, relates that a demon or bad spirit, hard to tell. What's the difference in Watchtower's mind? Killed 16 members of her family and tormented her physically and mentally for 18 years. From firsthand experience, she states that the demons enjoy torturing their unwilling victims until death. But Jehovah is able to protect his servants from Satan's attacks. This is the little segment that I found last night when I was wanting to write something spooky. Yeah, why does it feel racist? XJW Caleb says, I don't know. Associating black people with demonic crime perhaps maybe isn't great. What's really strange though is like this is a publication that is currently on the website. You can access the PDF. They are updating it with modern artwork. They are keeping tabs on this publication. This is the spiritual food being given to people. People in this religion believe that demons are the cause of bad dreams, of certain illnesses, maybe even of sexual abuse. Like, this is how they dismiss abuse within the organization. Literally, the devil made me do it kind of stuff. And yet, once again, don't worry. The demons falsely claim the dead are alive. Don't worry. These insidious, invisible spirits who murder and molest people, they're just spreading this crazy lie that the dead are alive. Don't worry. It's only half as horrifying as you thought it was. Insane. Humans, animals, fish, and birds are all souls. Great. Now, this is my favorite. This is what I want to make the new thumbnail. I am absolutely positive that I never saw this as a kid, but this is just Ghostbusters. It is literally a ghost with an X through it. It is also Dr. Manhattan. It is very clearly a blue, wavery, half invisible man gaining sentience, able to reassemble his particles to resemble his human form. So this is really quite a crossover. But I love this. I love the Bible shows that the soul is not immortal. So they just depict a soul rising out of the sky saying, this is not what happens. There should be like a side-by-side where it shows the casket open with nothing coming out of it and they're like a green check mark. Like, ding, he's just dead. Don't worry. But yeah, there was a family in my congregation who were from Ghana and immigrated from Ghana, and the wife, I think, was the first person to come in contact with the witnesses, and she said that the thing that roped her into it was having scriptural proof that the dead were not haunting her, because she believed a lot of superstitious stuff, which I always thought was, first of all, weird. And second of all, it didn't make a lot of sense because I was just as afraid of demons as anybody else. Like, as a kid, I learned this, and my mom said, isn't that so encouraging that she was able to put those fears behind her? And I'm thinking, there's still demons out there. She can't rest too easily. I was very afraid of demons. What's in his hand, some people are saying? There's nothing in his hand. He just has he's like making a, he's making like a jabber jabber. He's going like, hey, I'm alive now. I'm coming back to life. Like, that's, I think, what the hand is doing. He's arguably doing a talk to the hand thing, but the X is reminding us, no, you cannot talk to the hands of the dead because the hands of the dead can't talk because the dead can't talk. Spirit mediums, blah, blah, blah. Call me when you got a spirit large. I don't know. Okay. let's get into this. I find this picture very odd because is this a is this just like a huge rabbit? Am I going crazy? Am I just misseeing something obvious? Or is this like a big fat rabbit laying there? I don't know. But clearly these are two Jehovah's Witnesses coming. And this gentleman is pointing at this guy's tummy. If we follow his line of sight, he's saying, hey, there's something going on with your tummy. But maybe it's a false story about a tummy because he's saying, no, he's not saying this. Watchtower is saying this. Another way that Satan promotes the lie about the dead is through false stories. Such stories often turn people aside from Bible truth. So this point, again, is so stupid. The devil is spreading all these lies about dead people being able to talk. Like, okay, if you're telling me that the devil exists and is able to exert influence over human affairs, that's scary enough. I don't need the added detail of also real dead people are alive. It's like, as long as there are invisible evil spirits, that's still scary to me. But in Africa, there are many tales about people who were seen alive after they died, like Jesus. Oh, they don't mention him. Typically, such sightings are made far away from where What? Typically, such sightings are made far away from where the person lived. Such sightings are made far away from where the person lived. I guess I don't understand what they're saying. Like, oh, I saw Jeff at Burger King instead of at his house where he lived, the building next to the Burger King. I guess that's what they're saying. This grammar is confusing me. But ask yourself, does it seem reasonable that if a person had the power to come back from the dead, he would return to a place far away from his family and friends? Do they not realize that people have like complex reasons for their beliefs in spirit? Like I am just for like curiosity, as people know, I'm an agnostic atheist, so I'm not trying to get into witchcraft, but I have a bunch of like books on like witchcraft and spells and stuff because I was interested in like the mythology of it, and there's all kinds of complex reasons and explanations that people give as to why you might see your dead loved one over here instead of over there. Like, it's all bullshit in my opinion, but they're treating it as if there is like this person who sees the dead has never thought about it for even 2 seconds, when if it's really something that's on their mind, they probably would have. Also, could it not be that the person merely resembled the person who had died? I feel like they're like adding layers of grammar that don't need to be here. Now, anyway, they're trying to explain away seeing people after they died, even though they kind of need that to have happened at least once in human history in order for their belief system to work. Those books sound pretty cool. They're pretty cool. This really does just feel very racist. This guy is like messing with bones. I don't know. He's wearing an animal hat and clothes. No doubt, you know about strange things people have seen, heard, or dreamed. Such supernatural experiences often frighten those having them. Marion, who lived in West Africa, regularly heard the voice of her late grandmother calling her at night. Now, so it's like they're saying, now, if the dead were really alive, is it reasonable that they would terrify their loved ones? Of course not. The source of such hurtful messages is the demons. They're just tricking you into thinking that your dead loved one is yelling at you. Instead, it's an invisible chaos agent just trying to freak you out at night. Nothing to worry about. Just say the name Jehovah a bunch, and it will be fine. This is a great question. Oh, wait, no, that's not the one I want. This is the one. Did they dress a Bethelay up like this to make this illustration? Yes. Actually, W. Caleb is making a great point, which is that it's kind of a known thing that in Watchtower, in order to do these paintings, a lot of times they'll have somebody dress up in a Bible costume and paint them like a portrait so that they're using like a real life model or whatever. And boy, oh boy, I hope that's not the case. Big yikes energy. Now, there's a couple other pieces of art that I wanted to talk about. Not this so much. Not this one. It's this. This, to me, to pretend that I ever had a plan for this, feels like a liminal space to me. Like this airport terminal. Ignore what this lady's doing. I don't care what she's doing. This guy is just pouring champagne on the ground. I think it's like a pour one out kind of thing. I think he's saying other customs are based on the lie that the dead need our help. And I think they're implying that what this guy is doing is pouring one out for one of his dead buddies. And that's so weird. That's so weird. I thought, and remember, I'm high on nicotine cigarettes. I thought that this was like showing class disparity. I thought it was saying like, wow, some people are starving and eating a bowl of dirt pellets, and meanwhile, some guys are so rich that they're just pouring champagne on the ground. But I don't think that is what they're saying. I think they're saying like, hey, some cultures, you leave out a milk in a hole, and in some cultures, you pour out champagne on the ground of an airport terminal. I think that gentleman's going to get yelled at if you did something like that. Sorry, I have to briefly call. But if you're thinking that you need to do something like this, these things are wrong. No, they're not wrong. They're wrong because they promote Satan's lies about the dead. They're wrong because we already said that they're wrong. And if they were right, that would mean that Satan's right. And we're telling you that he's not, but that he is real. Would Jehovah approve of our having anything to do with customs based on the teachings of demons? Never! Never, you hear me? Oh boy. This is the one that really feels crazy that somebody at Watchtower had to paint. Like, think about this. If you really think that tarot cards and pentagrams and wheels of whatever the fuck are demonic, this is a Ouija board, like, if all of this stuff is demonic, they're having to look at it all for reference. And this is an old ass publication. They probably weren't able to pull it up on the internet and then clear their browser history. Like, this is an actual painting. This is genuinely sick. This fucking rules. I kind of want it if people wouldn't think that I was like weird and racist for having it. And oh shit, I clicked off the thing. And like, no, I'm not weird and racist. I'm just weird and like the weird art from the cult I grew up in. But this is I mean, the vibes are immaculate, certainly. On that we can all agree. And what I would love to see, because it gets pixely when you zoom in, is the texture of whatever this is. Because it feels like this is the canvas that was painted on, which means this was painted on canvas. This canvas exists in Bethel headquarters somewhere. There's a canvas of a thing with a Ouija board and tarot cards and like a dude casting lots or whatever he's doing. So that's pretty crazy. And this person is clearly not going through such a great time. Now actually, I want to go back here. Caleb has a worthy art criticism. And actually, we probably should, and maybe chat has been, and I'm just not doing a good job of keeping up with it. But Extra W. Caleb argues, Zodiac wheel, that's the phrase I was looking for. He argues that the negative space on the right side, I'm sorry, on the left side, it is a little too much. And I think he might be right. I think what it's trying to do is draw your eye down like this, but it does. It feels just lacking over here. It feels like there needs to be, like a slit bleeding wrist coming out of here on this side. And it drips and turns into the artist's signature. Okay, but this is really gross, right? Because there is still an ingrained belief within a lot of especially older people in the organization that people who kill themselves are demonized and do so because they were tormented by demons, which, as they teach in this publication, can only happen if you don't have a good relationship with Jehovah. And so there is a real stigma against people who die by suicide in the organization because they think that person was not really a good servant of Jehovah. That means they were bad association when you think about it. It's really fucking gross. So if you fuck around with spiritism, like let's say Nilda, who lived in Brazilda, the demons made her life a misery. She relates, the spirits ... possessed me, or what? Oh, ordering me about. I alternated between states of consciousness and unconsciousness, and I was, sorry, I'm getting a little choked up, intertwined with the psychiatric problems. What? And I was interned with psychiatric problems. I was interned. That's weird. The demons persecuted me so much that my nerves were affected. I took sedatives and began to drink and smoke constantly. This went on for years. Oy vey. Yeah, this is really it. This is the root of this teaching. Like, no, if they were a true servant of Jehovah, they would have been happy. Yeah. But this is like bananas. This is just somebody who is having a severe mental health crisis and needed help. And they're happy to say, no, this is demons, totally just demons. And this is why it's so scary and why you better convert now. And it's worth noting that they see more growth in African nations than they do in like their home territory now. And I wonder if it's because there's like a demographic of people who like have a belief in spirits and that they can kind of prey on fears that people might have. Although I don't know. I would argue that this seems like a very lateral move. I do love this guy. I love this is the healed blind man who's psyched that Jesus like spat in his eye and rubbed a weird salve in it and smeared it around. And yeah, just skeptics and scoundrels just enjoying a good old fashioned demons cause mental health problems, which is wonderful. And the Ephesians burned their books about magic. I wonder if Watchtower burned the painting they did of the Ouija board and stuff. I don't know. Lighting stuff on fire in the movie Hereditary just caused the person to catch on fire too. So you got to watch out. Sometimes these demons are crafty, especially Payman. Hail Payman. And boy, this really dates the publication, doesn't it? Like, this is not a New Kingdom Home. And this is the old Bible. And she's sitting at like the photography area at an old Walmart, which is, of course, a liminal space. This baptism pool is a liminal space. This looks exactly like the baptism pool that I was baptized in, complete with this like carpeted staircase made out of 2x4s, which is clearly like made from some brother in the RBC. This was our exact setup. Love to see it. Associate with Jehovah's Witnesses. Key ingredient to not getting demonized. Be one of us. We would never lead you astray. A marvelous future. And after all this, after a publication full of Black people being tormented by demons, we see a very, very white Jesus Christ come and save everybody by tying up Satan, throwing him in a crack, throwing him in a butt crack. You can't spell abyss without all the letters you need to spell ass if you delete a lot of the letters. And then this, a new world, which will be diverse and colorful. And will there be a fruit basket? Only time will tell. Now, why are there cemeteries if nobody's dead anymore? I don't know. Like, I guess they say all those in the memorial tombs will come out, and so they need there to literally be memorial tombs. But it seems to me like in new media, they're pushing this idea that people will miraculously appear in front of a gazebo. So I don't know. I think that they're literally expecting like a schedule to be sent to the elders via their jw.org login of like, okay, here's the resurrection schedule. This year we're doing 1782, and next year we'll be doing 1781, etc. Good Paradise pick. And yes, of course, I was merely teasing you. If we could scroll down, there's fruit baskets, of course. And everybody kind of keeps their native garb, as witnesses would say. They love saying phrases like native garb. And now that is the only language I have to talk about things, which feels wrong. It feels like it's probably wrong. This gentleman is bringing a fruit basket, and I don't know why he's doing this, because he must know surely the one thing everybody already has is a basket full of fruit. Although you might say, is he bringing the veggies, and do they have the fruit? That's possible. They also have bread. Rare bread sighting in Paradise. We usually just see the fruit and veg fresh in the basket. But no, I think we've got some leavened bread even. Hard to say. No beers in Paradise, biscuits. You can't have a beard, but you may have a pumpkin roll from Kroger. And look at all these people. Look at all these cardboard cutouts that we strategically placed. This is one that I just wanted to point out, because this is very clearly propaganda art, right? Like, this image of all of these smiling, waving people hugging, all of whom are very white in this publication that has only depicted Black people in the worst way possible. Well, don't worry. Paradise is white as fuck. And this like technique of just putting this white border around people is something that they tell you to do when you make YouTube thumbnails. They tell you, like, no, put a white border around yourself because it helps it stand out more. Like, this actually is propaganda art techniques. They're not trying to just create like a seamless Paradise picture. They're wanting to sell you something. And it ain't that flower, baby. It's this. It's the brotherhood and camaraderie. The end. And we all worship Satan forever and ever. No, so we've got to get to more art. We must get to more art, because I've only streamed for 47 minutes. And as far as I'm concerned, you have to stream for at least an hour for your field service time to count. And I still have at least one more hit on this cigarette. So let's see. Sound off in the chat. What art, like, from what publication should we look at? Actually, Caleb, should we just redo our Revelation book thing now that you can show your face? Me and XJW Caleb did one of these months ago, and then I've been so bad about uploading stuff. And so now it was back in the face before he even showed his face. So now it feels like it would be last gen. You know, it would be like I break out no, actually, it would be pretty rad if I broke out the Nintendo Wii at a party. Never mind. It'd be like breaking out the PS3. Everyone's like, okay. We're like 2 console generations later. You know, we're not even just post-face reveal Caleb. We're like now kind of long hair era Caleb. I'm getting some long hair myself, by the way. Can we talk about the extra feet in the old songbook picture? Great picture? No, great question. I love cigarettes. I literally busted out my Wii U for a house party last week. Bro, I busted out the Wii U to replay Twilight Princess. I think I'm going to make a video about it. I'm going to make a video specifically about the nature of playing it after Tears of the Kingdom. Best 5-player system ever made. Oh my god, true. Nintendo Land fucking rules. That game is so underrated. I still like to break out that Luigi's Mansion game, and the hide and go seek game is really fun too. Just a little video game interlude, and goddamn, you know what I forgot to do this whole time? What I could have been doing was play a little vibe. I could have been dropping some generic lo-fi music that won't trip YouTube's copyright system, which that Tom York song from the beginning probably will. So almost certainly this will be monetized. Okay, old songbook. We do have to talk about this. I don't think I can just search for old songbook. Actually, I'm going to do it. Sing to Jeff. I'll bet if I just look up songbook pictures, this guy, yeah. These guys came up right away. These guys came up right away. Okay, let's okay, so the reason why we're talking about the old songbook is because there's a very famous / infamous painting. Hey, thanks for coming to the live stream. Noli Me Dengu 23. I'm not reading especially well right now. Especially multiple words smashed together. That's a lot for my brain. But oh god damn it! Look at this tiny ass picture that pulled up. That's not helpful at all. I don't know how I got the tiniest picture in the world of these guys. There's this picture of all these old guys singing, and why are they singing? It's not entirely clear. We don't really know. They're singing to Jehovah. That much is definitely true. How big is this picture? But there's a really great one that has like it appears as though there is an extra foot. Oh, this is good. This is a really good picture. I hope that this works. Because this person's songbook looks like my songbook. Was anybody else a real bad boy or bad anything? Were you a bad gender when you were a wee one in the organization? Did you deface the property of the congregate Jehovah's artwork? Because this is what mine looked like. And this person clearly defaced artwork that Jehovah specifically wanted to exist, which is pretty fucked up. But there's a mystery of these feet and what the fuck is going on with these guys' feet. And I'm not sure I get this, but let's see if we can figure it out. I think the mystery is that... Oh, shit. Zoomed in a really weird spot. What? Come back, foot. Things Quentin Tarantino says. Now, where's the questionable foot here? Is it this foot or is it this foot? Oh, or is it this foot? What is this thing here? Oh, I do have questions. Chat, are we seeing a creepy extra foot? Yes, extra feet, Sarah Naylor says. Every pre-smartphone JW kid has every detail in every picture memorized because we were so goddamn bored that we stared at the picture the whole time. That is so true. Okay, zoom out a little bit. This is like the whole thing. Is it this really far away one on the side? I don't know. I don't know if I see bonus feet. Schrodinger's foot. Oh shit, the feet. It's all coming back. Yeah. Schrodinger's foot, I think, is the thing. Yeah, I'm not entirely convinced. Unless that weird little thing we saw was a secret bonus foot. How little Pimo sees it. Well, this seems like terrible content right now, I'll be honest. It's the second on the right. They don't have a body. They don't have no souls. 1, 2. Okay, so it's this one. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. I mean, it's clearly attached to this guy's body. Second from the right. Or second from the... I see only feet attached to body. Oh! Oh, I do see it. I think I might see it. I think it's these two white feet. It's these two white feet. They do not clearly correspond to anybody. Because here's this guy and this guy, and the feet are between them. And here's this guy's feet, and here's this guy's feet. This definitely... This is very weird. What the fuck is this? I guess it's like... There's some other guy... No. Wow. I now instantly believe in the Illuminati. I now believe in the New World Order. I now believe that the government has been controlling everything I've seen in my entire life. Because even though they've never proven themselves able to do anything, I'm sure that they're able to control this. That's really, that's really crazy. What a vibe. The extra feet. I loved doing this as a kid. I loved drawing glasses and angry eyebrows and coloring in their beards. What fun. And this guy drew like a kind of almost a demonic looking thing. Metallica Tool. This is pretty good. Does this one say Pearl Jam? That's the Pearl Jam guy. Okay. Well, anyway, that's that piece of Watchtower art. Yeah, right now we have broadcast to laugh at. Harder. See people out there making content. It's harder to make content about still images. I guess. I don't know. I don't know if what I'm doing counts as content even really. But we're gonna look up the Revelation, the Climax book. Revelation, the Climax. And this is really the ultimate liminal art piece, isn't it? jwwayback.org. jwwayback.org is a thing that exists? Bet. Oh, yeah, we got a nice high quality scan here. All right. Oh, you can see the texture. It's lovely. It's lovely. Ideally, we'd all be in person around a campfire talking about this, but you know, there's a lot. There's a lot going on in these. I think that this particular little bit is the updated version, right? I think that this is the other half. Is this? I feel like that's not in the original one. I wonder if it says if this is the reprinting on it. 1988, yeah, 2006 printing. Good on whoever uploaded this for underlining that. But you do get this lovely work of art right here. These skeletons and stuff riding. And they've got high quality images of them on jw.org under the like articles they have for the specific like I don't know, Horsemen of the Apocalypse or whatever this is. I ordered a Revelation book and got a pristine copy. I was a little disappointed, TBH. Okay, so what do we like about the Revelation book? I'm going to tell you what I like. I like page fucking 1, even though I think this might not be from the original Revelation book. This kind of thing. This just a very realistic guy, but then you've got kind of cartoonish candelabras floating around him. What a strange mood. And like he's like, it's almost like he's got a newsman's green screen of a globe behind him, like the jw.org globe that they have swirling around in the background. Very weird. I like this gentleman right here. I like this liminal space that he exists in. Look at this little office. This is a 1988 office, not a 2006 office, I assure you. First of all, he has like an Alexander Graham Bell telephone. A Bellaphone. Was there ever a push from Alexander Graham Bell to call it the Alexander Graham Bellaphone? If not, I think that's a missed opportunity. But oh boy, the grand theme of the Bible. And that, viewers of the channel know, that's my favorite topic. That's my favorite topic is Jehovah's Witnesses' grand theme of the Bible thing, because I think it's very easy to debunk. And if you can debunk that, technically, you can debunk their entire theology. But I don't know. I've gone over it a lot at this point and converted 0 people to my church of Krites of Latter-day Alt-Worldlies. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just wasting time because I'm trying to find good art that I like. Yeah, this one I really like because I remember these old people. These old people really stand out in my memory as people who exist. And I believe, if I'm recalling my conversation with XJW Caleb, I think that he pointed out that these were probably Bethelites at the time, like people of the anointed in Bethel that they were actually depicting. And that's probably true. That was probably what they were going for. And now they're all dead, rotting in hell. Just kidding. They're just dead. There is no soul. The Bible does not teach in the immortal soul. It only teaches that demons are tormenting you every second of every day. This I do not recall. This conjures no memories. I have no memory of this. I feel like this is not in my Revelation book. This is like a Berenstain Bears situation. But there it is, a lady about to get her head chopped off and a ginger man getting burned at the stake. Even in the 1600s, they weren't using a cross. Even then, no, torture stake. That might actually be historically accurate. I'm not sure. Is it clear that I smoked nicotine cigarettes? Is that coming through? Now, this is how you know that this is dated. And it would be funny if they bothered, like the Spirits of the Dead publication, if they like superimpose like the Enjoy Life Forever book here. They've done that in the past. The new Bible story book that's worse and less scary and will traumatize less children. I love these pictures here because this really brings up like very specific memories of what it was like to be a Jehovah's Witness. Like this, wearing my little coat, giving a presentation in the winter. I was a little black boy, just like him. No, I was like this kind of pasty guy. I was like this family. I was like this really nerdy white family. Like this hairstyle, these dresses, these versions of the publications. You know, like it or not, it is nostalgic. It's bittersweet nostalgia. It's like this guy's username, ooh, page 78 was always so psychedelic to me. Okay, we'll get to page 78 though. But yeah, this like picture feels like field service groups when I was a kid, and that's an interesting thing to tap into. I'm trying to get to a point. I think I'm kind of at a point where I can just have positive memories of things I grew up with as a Jehovah's Witness, like positive family memories. For a long time, after waking it up, it was only sad. Like it just kind of made me mad when I thought of like nice childhood memories because it just reminded me of like, well, but they're shunning me now. And I think I'm getting past that point. Like I'm just kind of feeling good thinking about this right now. Had to take a dramatic pause for emphasis. Oh God, white Jesus, he's back. He's whiter than ever. All right, people were talking about page 78. The number of... Nope, I was about to say 78 trambones in the big parade. Nope. Okay. Yeah, this is the shit. This is the shit right here. Look at this. The thing about this... Sorry, I'm trying to get it centered in a nice spot. This green thing always reminded me of the Looney Tunes logo. Always reminded me of whatever that thing is that the Looney Tunes bust through during the theme song, which the Double Threat podcast had a whole debate a couple years ago about what that thing was, and I don't remember where I end up. Jesus is channeling Link with that, smashing that pot there. Yeah, absolutely. But this is Jesus, or is it Jehovah? I think this is Jehovah, right? Because this chapter is the magnificence of Jehovah's celestial throne. And so I think this is Jehovah. This was always my depiction of Jehovah, like in my brain as a kid. Like I was praying to like a golden guy who wears a crown and sits in a chair, which when you think about it is like a very, I don't know, Anglo-American way of looking at divinity and kingship. Like that's the only reference for it that they have. I don't know. It's Jehovah because they didn't draw his face. That's how you know. Yep, that's exactly what it is. Because if you saw Jehovah's face, you'd go blind for a week. It's so hot that your face will fucking melt. God has the ability, does he not, to make a face that would not make you go insane if you saw it? Why doesn't he just present himself with like, I don't know, nice face like this? Is this so bad? Some would say it's godly. I don't know. No, sorry, I'm... The problem is usually when I'm like this, Christina is here to tell me to shut up, but she's watching Real Housewives, so nobody is telling me to not make an ass of myself. And speaking of asses, there's one right here. No, I think that's like a bowl or something, and there's many bowls in this. Yeah, this imagery was always very crazy to me. Like, wow, this is a depiction of the dreams that God gave people? Why would he give people dreams like that? But I don't know. It was very like creatively inspiring as a kid. I always liked to draw, and I think I found this kind of stuff really inspiring in a weird way. But boy, like, what a great painting. And what I was talking about, like kitsch art, I think what I find really exciting about these pieces, and what I always still like to look at, even in like their new Ezekiel book, which they studied last time, the last study session at the weekly meetings, Pure Worship of Jehovah Restored at Last. It has some of these really psychedelic, trippy depictions of Bible prophecy. I think what I like about it is you can see the passion of the artist come through, because this is something that is purely imaginative. You know, you're taking these really esoteric, vague descriptions from the Bible, and you're trying to visualize them into something coherent. And if you're a Jehovah's Witness, I don't think that there could really be much of a greater honor than getting to depict this in a publication that's going to be read by millions of your brothers and sisters, right? So I feel like, you know, good art, even when it's bad art, you always see a lot of the artist in it, and you can just feel the artist having a good time. And I think that's why these always feel exciting, is because they're really interesting and imaginative and really weird, but also like stylistically really of the time. Like, they don't paint like this anymore. The versions of this that exist in the Ezekiel book are trying to depict like photoreal versions of this stuff that have more realistic like dimension and perspective. It's which makes it weird. But this is kind of like how in Superman 2, the Phantom Zone is just like a flat, you know, square or triangle or whatever. Like, it's depicting this really psychedelic thing purely flatly. Did that make any sense? I don't know. I edited the last one of these I did, and I edited about 2 hours out of it. Love this. Love the amount of seals on this scroll. They love getting persnickety about these kinds of details in particular. Boy, oh boy. We've zoomed out even further, and it's literally Burning Man, folks. And they got their little pots with their farts. That's what they are, people. All of these galaxies, they're just looking down upon all of these galaxies sending their farts to Jehovah. And look, we know it's a fart because they're at a toilet right there. And they're playing the harp. They're harp farting. Now, I don't know what's going on with this one crown. I don't know if this... I think one of the angels fell into this hole, like in Mario Galaxy. How you can, you know, when you die, you swirl into the gravity well. Because there's just one little crown here where, like, a angel is supposed to be. But he pulled a Wile E. Coyote and like looked at the camera and waved and then fell down and his crown stayed behind. I think that's what it's depicting here, that scene from the Bible. But how crazy. And then you got this guy like, hey, come on, check it out. Like, what is this perspective? Is the perspective like when you're a governing body member, you're one of the anointed, obviously. This is like first person camera view, POV, you walking into heaven. You get to go down this weird Hunger Games ceremony until you meet old faceless Jaw up there shooting lightning like all the good guys in fiction. Craziness. Absolutely wild. White Jesus, we can show his face because he's hot, but not so hot that you can't portray his face. I know you'll get to, but page 307 made me feel good. Like a little architectural model. Busy little angels pushing marbles around. Yes, we are going to get to this, because that was the one that I remember obsessing over when I talked about this with Danny. Those fucking marbles. Now, all these horsemen are kind of cool, but the best one, this is a runner-up, that this like Nicholas Holt's character from Mad Max writing that. But no, this guy, you want this tattoo, right? I want this tattoo. The question is where to get it. Answer, my left arm, bicep. No, I actually haven't thought about this till now, but that really would be a cool tattoo. I think especially this silhouetted death in the background, it's amazing. I think it's Famine, right? Or no, this guy's Famine, because he's all emaciated. Why did I choose to scroll up like this? But yeah, cool tattoos. Come to your local alt-worldly stream for great tattoo ideas. And now we get some lies. And way back in the day, why is this one page pixelated to all shit? What the hell happened here? I mean, this is a scan of the book. It must have just been a shitty printing of the book. Wow. So this is literally just lies, which is fun. Stay tuned for content on 1914 and 607 and so forth. But for now, we have business to get to. We have art to appreciate. Art such as this. This really, really stuck with me as a kid. To me, this tells such a story. It told such a story because this chapter is like, talking about how horrible the destruction is going to be in Armageddon. They hid themselves in caves. It's depicting people who are not Jehovah's Witnesses being destroyed in Armageddon. And they can try and hide in these caves. Like these people who are beating each other up. Like, no, this is my cave. No, this is my cave. And these otherwise, clean-shaven Anglo-Saxon motherfuckers who really just look like Jehovah's Witnesses they had at Bethel. Nope, they're getting destroyed, baby. And they're just getting pelted with rocks to death. One of God's favorite ways to kill people. He really likes the theatrics. Remember that talk that Jeffrey Jackson gave, how
Jehovah, when he brings about something exciting, he does it with style.
And he gives this weird talk about how Jehovah always does stuff with style. Very weird, almost like lascivious talk where he's salivating over God being so stylish. Now this shit right here, this is wild. Like, look at this. What are they doing? They're like, hey, hold it back. Hold these storms back. This is the planet Exegol from Star Wars, quite frankly. I mean, look at this lightning. But yeah, they're like literally holding back the storm. Are they holding back like the four winds or something? Is that part of it? Yeah, the four winds. Don't ask me what that means, but it stood out enough that when I saw these guys making that pose, I was like, ah, yes, they're holding back the four winds, of course. These are things you worry about as a child, Jehovah's Witness. This is something that I am interested in following, by the way, is this narrative of theirs that, like true worship continued after the first century, but just in drips and drabs with like certain individuals. And I think that's kind of what they're going for here. Or no. This is the general selection of the true Israel of God proceeded from the day of Pentecost 33 CE down to 1935, when at a historic convention of Jehovah's Witnesses in Washington, D.C., emphasis was shifted to the ingathering of a great crowd with earthly life prospects. Yep. This is, you got to fill your brain with this stuff as a kid. I don't understand that. And here you go. This is more POV stuff. You got to get like page 98 into the Pornhub POV section to get to this, but it's there. Sorry I said that. This is very interesting because this guy is wearing very clearly just an American flag. Is he or no? I guess not. I guess it's just red and white. I thought I saw some blue in there, but upon zooming in, no. The great crowd owes salvation to God and to the Lamb. This reminds me of BioShock Infinite, which was very obsessed with the biblical nature of like the Lamb and all that. And it had a lot of great propaganda art too. If you've never played BioShock Infinite, it's a good XJW game. And less racist than the Spirits of the Dead brochure, but a little iffy in some places. Now, I'm trying to find my marbles, my favorite marbles that I love to talk about. But I do think it's worth talking about whatever the fuck these things are. Holy shit. I mean, this gave me nightmares. These are what my dreams are like now. Just fucking Jason Momoa with a golden horse body and a scorpion tail, but none of it's hot. It's just terrifying. Awful. And they have these jagged teeth. Do you see that? Like this guy, you can almost see like his drool tendrils. Really, really creepy. What were the people like who painted this? I want to see their rough drafts. I want to see the fucking sketchbook of these guys. It's probably full of like weird and nudie drawings of like their crush in the congregation, them together in paradise, and then you just have, which should absolutely be my next tattoo, which is the bisexual brigade just rolling in. What could this possibly be? The Rainbow Vest Squad. Horses with lions' heads, breathing fire, and snake tails, being ridden by extremely white Italian men wearing rainbow colors, rainbow vests, and leather pants. This is crazy. I love this. I love this. I think I might have to make it the new banner of the channel. This is good. Are we vibing with this? I haven't looked in a chat in a while, but these... Why are they alarmed? Ancient Assyrian imagery of gods. That could be. Is it a breastplate of something? Yeah, I'll bet. It's got my breastplate thumping. I don't know. Now, this is not a painting, but just look at all these old publications. Look at this. You know, these kinds of covers, these old covers of books that were just like some imprinted like silhouette drawing with some golden text. You had to really like imagine what the inside of the book would be like. Very, very satisfying, those old-timey covers. And the new ones are, you know, flimsy. Yeah, no big deal. Just, I think, a nice angel stabbing people and killing them for their sins. Where's my marbles? Oh, man. Well, we're about to, you can almost see this guy's marbles, really. I mean, he's handing up this guy a towel to wipe his marbles and deal with whatever terrible fluid buildup problem he's having in his knees. He needs surgery yesterday. But then the really weird thing is his face is like entirely two-dimensional. And then it gets like more, I don't know, realistic and detailed as it goes down. What a weird piece. I don't know. Like, is this good or bad? And the hand is super realistic. Like, look how realistic this hand is in relation to everything else. So weird. They've got like 8 layers of shading on that hand. Oh, man. And this is why this publication isn't in circulation anymore. They're talking about things like the John class and their associates. You know, this, like, they're teaching weird stuff now, but they had even weirder names for the weird stuff that they currently believe. Like, they still basically believe this same kind of stuff. They just don't call it that. Very weird. This guy kind of looks like Ray France. This guy's really yelling at Ray France. Reviving the 2 witnesses. Oh, Jehovah's Witnesses love doing that. I find this very scary. This always stood out to me. First of all, now he reminds me of like the Hobbits in the Peter Jackson movies. It looks like he's wearing Hobbit makeup. But even though this is John, it's the Apostle John. I always thought this was Jehovah, like measuring out, you know, the building on Earth. Like it seemed very godly, even though I know that's not what they're going for. This is also really fucking weird. The rebuilding work by Zerubbabel and Joshua indicated that in the Lord's day, small beginnings would be followed by great increase among Jehovah's Witnesses. Facilities such as the one shown above, which are in Brooklyn, New York, have had to be greatly expanded in order to help meet their needs. So, like, they're comparing this temple in, you know, ancient Israel, the spiritual temple, or I guess, no, this is John measuring the spiritual temple, whoever the fuck it is, whatever they're talking about. This is the modern day temple. The buildings that are owned and have now been sold to, I think, like Jared Kushner or Don Jr., one of those guys. Absolutely wild. One of about a gajillion reasons why this book is no longer in circulation. Although I think the text of it is on the website still. They just don't have the fun pictures. They don't even have the PDF. Okay, I want to find my beautiful marbles. I could talk about this for 9 hours, so I have to make some calls. Damn it. Listen. I wanted to find the marbles, but I had to talk about this first. I'm obsessed with this picture. First of all, as a Nickelodeon kid, of course I thought this was slime. Of course I did. Thought it was slime or gack or perhaps even flubber. But no, it's bowls of anger. Which isn't green the color of envy? Not necessarily anger. But I don't know. Weird. The imagery, like the physicality of it, is very interesting to me. Like, even though they're trying to be symbolic, it was very literal in my head. Like, it makes God's destruction very tactile. He's really trying to get his hands dirty and really fuck up the earth with his Nickelodeon gack. Okay, so I had to stop on that as I look for my picture of the marbles. Imagine if I just am wrong and there's not even a fun picture of marbles. It's hard not to stop down on these. It's hard not to stop down on these pictures, especially this one. This one really, like the cave one. Like, if you would have asked me earlier today, I would have thought that those two pictures were in the same chapter because they're very connected in my head. The imagery of, like, during Armageddon, people are going to be crawling for their lives as Earth opens and buildings fall into it. Really terrifying imagery. Again, I had a lot of problems sleeping as a kid, and now it's not super surprising as to why. Now, something that is worth pointing out that I think I maybe have gone over in stream before, maybe it was in that long last video that me and Danny did about this book. You know, everyone knows about this iconic great harlot, Babylon the Great, sitting upon a dangerous wild beast. But people forget this is not our only picture of the Great Harlot. I think this is a real great picture of her. She's really serving some like 90s fortune teller energy. Really flowy, like the original Scarlet Witch with like her, you know, red costume. And then you got this. You got this picture of our Great Harlot seducing Pedro Pascal himself. Look at that. She's getting the Mandalorian involved up in all this. Although his mustache, I suppose he's more Joel from The Last of Us. Oh, and look. Then she gets drunk on blood. And that's, you know, you got to remember, folks, that it's all fun and games to ride a wild beast with a bunch of different animal heads, sipping fucking mead or whatever she's drinking. Or no, she's drunk with the blood of the holy ones. And what are they saying? Are they saying that they burned witches rightfully? Like that was a good thing that they did? Because they're like depicting witch burnings here. I guess maybe not. I guess they're saying that was a result of religious fanaticism. And because, yes, they're putting that side by side with the concentration camps. Not great. And the United Nations is to blame. Okay, I gotta get into the 300s. I gotta get into the 300s so I can find my marbles. But I gotta talk about my other friends that I love so much and I think about so much. This is another image in this book. I think the fact that it was on the bottom of the page was very fun for me. Like, it seemed like the kind of thing that I did in the wash. Like, I would doodle in this blank space under the page. It's very fun. They have all these people with varying degrees of detail and love put into them. Because I think, like, this guy and this guy over here are struggling. But then the people in the middle seem more like real people. Although I don't know, this guy here, his eyes are like going two different directions. He's got really big lips. We haven't talked much about lips yet, but that was a big feature the last time I talked about Watchtower art. They like juicy lips. So do I, but they really like them. 308. Is this the picture that we're talking about? Is this the Oh, here's my fucking marbles, baby. All right, let's talk about these. This picture is very exciting, and our commenter who brought this up mentions that it's nice. Like, this vision of heaven is very satisfying. First of all, it's all made up of all these precious gems and stuff. It seems very celestial, I guess. Guess you could say that heaven's celestial, sure. First of all, what are these? Like, what is this, a door? Is this like a complicated door system where you need to like slide up under the ball like a double dare challenge? Also, that wall is not very high because he could just reach his arms up and climb up this wall. So I don't know how strong this gate is. Like, the ball actually would be an effective door because I don't know how the hell you get through it. Or maybe they're just going to drop it through the hole for fun into whatever fun heaven, whirligig that goes down into like a gumball machine. But I don't know. They have some vague idea of what life in heaven's going to be like. They have some concept in their head as to what they will be doing in heaven. They clearly think about it a lot. We had that great Sam Hurd bit, which I'm going to make a soundboard one of these days, but it's where he says, we get to heaven, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be taught how to fight. Yeah. He talks about the like military training they're going to get in heaven for the great day of Jehovah, where they start attacking the nations of the earth and, killing all those people in those caves that we were looking at earlier. And so they have some sense that there will be an organizational structure in heaven, that they will have like assignments. If you watched the leaked Anthony Morris Gilead talk from a couple weeks back, Anthony Morris had like a really specific stuff about like he's able to, like, he has these visions where he goes into a zone that, the sisters, when they're in heaven, they're all going to be the same gender. So they're not going to be able to pull their woman card on them because they're all the same gender and they're going to have to work together to accomplish whatever assignment. It's very, very strange. But what is this? What exactly is this depicting? I'm not sure. Yes, it does look like a shrine puzzle in the new Zelda games where you have to get the big sphere into the target. And great comment. Is this what they mean by pearly? These are literally pearly gates. These are gates guarded by enormous pearls. This is not the pearl of small value, folks. This is the largest pearl in heaven. And then, you thought the pearl action couldn't get any better. Well, holy fucking shit. This is crazy big pearls. Let's get a little bit of context this. I just want to get out of context Watchtower. Good idea for your channel. If you're trying to start one or some social media page, out of context Watchtower, it's a good idea. As we noted in our opening chapter, Jehovah's Witnesses have over the years published other enlightening books on Revelation. Now we again draw the attention of all truth lovers to the powerful Revelation prophecies and their fulfillment. If people want to ignore the warnings and counsel in Revelation, well, let them do so! Exclamation point. He that is doing unrighteousness, let him do unrighteousness still. Wow. If he's doing something bad, let him do that bad thing. Strong words. Bold words, those. If it is their choice, those who are wallowing in the filth of this permissive age can die in that filth. Things I read as a child. Shortly, Jehovah's judgments will be executed to completion, starting with the great destruction of Babylon the Great. Let meek persons be diligent and heed the prophet's words. Seek Jehovah, seek righteousness, seek meekness. Probably you may be concealed in the day of Jehovah's anger. As for those who are already dedicated to Jehovah, let the righteous one do righteousness still. and let the Holy One be made holy still. The wise know that no temporary advantage coming from sin can compare with the lasting blessings to be enjoyed by those who pursue righteousness and holiness. This guy is getting like sucked into the run-on sentence. Boy, oh boy. Really bold proclamations, I gotta say. Like, they will die in their filth. That's the kind of stuff I was reading growing up. I know this sounds like old man yells at cloud kind of stuff, but that's how that sounds to me. That's how it reads to me. Now, I have to find for you my favorite Watchtower quote of all time. You may have noticed I said bold words, those. Well, even as a witness, this was a running joke between me and my friends. There was a Watchtower just a couple years ago that contained a very fun phrase. It said, hence such members could not willingly and conscientiously engage in the taking of the life of human beings. Bold words, those. Clearly, the brothers had no intention of compromising. So, bold words, those, is still a joke between me and Christina today. Anytime we hear the word bold, that was a joke with my witness friends on our Star Wars podcast. Good times. Bold words, those. So, that's now a fun quote you have in your brain, and that will haunt your inside jokes with your friends. Okay, let's just close out our intense study of the Revelation book. First of all, look how many old white people will be happy. They'll be saved. This is the next page. Like, all these like filthy people are going to die in their filth. But don't worry, all the white people will be happy. It's really, I didn't intend this to be a stream about race, but the publications, they raise some questions. Oh my. Is that good what's happening to them, or is that bad? Is that like Gandalf showing up, at daybreak and blinding all the orcs or whatever? I don't know. Boy, this dates the publication a little. And the marbles are good because they put it on the back inside cover. Like, hey, what's going to be great about this book? It's going to be a big-ass marble. And you're going to wonder, how the hell are you supposed to get past it? Is it a door? Is it a shrine puzzle? Now, we didn't get to whatever this is, but it looks like Jesus marrying someone hot. And I wish we would have thought to look into who he's getting married to and why she's so hot. And, is he allowed to finally nut in heaven? So there you go. Somebody always had a crush on that lady. Well, I apparently was not paying close enough attention to the inside of my Revelation book. She is blue-haired. Kind of an anime vibe. Early adopters, way back in the late 70s. They were like watching imported anime. What the fuck am I talking about? I don't know anything about anime. The hot lady is the entire 144,000. Is that what the governing body thinks? That they're going to like kind of come together and form a human Voltron of this hot lady who we will zoom in on? Let's really soak in. This is Jeffrey Jackson you're seeing right here. Jesus is about to give a big smooch on the lips. This is Jeffrey Jackson. This is Sam Hurd. Sam Hurd, an African-American man. He is now a white, blue-haired woman about to make out with Jesus himself. Gage Flegel. Jeffrey Winder. Damn it, I did remember his name. And the rest. All those old motherfuckers are housed in this one being. Well, small cheeks, those. Well, folks, I really appreciate you joining me. I feel bad I haven't uploaded videos to the channel in a little bit. I've been busy with other creative stuff, and I apologize, but also good things going on. But I think to get back into it, I'm going to do what I did last time. I was kind of struggling with regular output, which is to make kind of shorter quicker videos. I've been watching a lot of Vlog Brothers recently. My ADHD is turned into like kind of quicker, shorter videos these days. So I think this week I'm going to try and bank up a few short videos, put those out. But I really like streaming. It's very fun for me. And thank you for indulging me in my ridiculous whims. It's just a blast. And creative stuff is not a euphemism. No, I've been writing and been making other videos just for fun, and yeah, it's just been good. Just trying to recalibrate my brain a little bit, and it's been good. I think it's allowed me to not like not focus on bad memories, like looking at these pictures was really interesting and cathartic. It brought back kind of positive memories I had, because as weird as the book studies are, or were, I did have a good time just hanging out with like my little group of people and being able to essentially be in a book club, something that now I would kind of like to do again, like having snack night and recording Survivor to watch with the family after the book study was over. That stuff is fun. So page 2 is the hot lady. She's the bride class, or 144,000. So yes, thank you for putting up with my being slow to make videos, but I'm keeping at it, just working a little slower and steadier. But thanks for joining. And I think we're going to go out with this fun edit that I threw together in a half hour, and Christina said was tastefully pretentious, which was really the greatest compliment she's ever given me, unironically. So guys, thanks for joining and hanging out.